Hey everyone, so it's been a year since I purchased the Sinn 104, the Green Ltd Edition, and I thought it was about time I gave a very quick review on it. So let's gather my thoughts, pros and cons of the Sinn 104 Green Edition. So first up, I've got it on a black NATO strap. I ordered it with the leather strap. But I find on my 7.5-inch wrist that's probably a fraction too short for me, which is disappointing because it's a nice strap. But this Sinn, and I think most Sinns 104s, work extremely well on NATO straps. And I'm not a fan of NATO straps generally, but I do like this Sinn on it. The one I've got on it here is a black NATO from Ball Watches, which I don't use in my ball watch, and this is really living up to its name as a strap monster. They can handle a lot of different straps. So I've been changing this strap on and off on the Sinn 104 for the last year, and it's one of the few watches I do that. Most of my watches I stick with the bracelet. I'm a bracelet guy, but this is really living up to its name as a watch that can handle multiple types of straps quite comfortably and look good on all sorts of straps. So that's a big plus with the 104. So with this limited edition, obviously the most striking thing is this green dial, which is quite stunning, to be honest. And in different lights it will look black. In some lights it will be a shimmering green, and it will take a different texture and color on depending on that light. So it's a fantastic dial. It's such an interesting patterning they've got there with that speckled green. Just a really interesting dial, and I think the black bezel works extremely well with that green. So in terms of the dial, absolutely my favorite dial of all the ones I own. It's been said many times before, but this is very much a tool watch in that German tradition. The lines are extremely, how would I describe it, Panzer-like, very, get some focus here, very sharp and very meaningful lines to this watch. I really like it. I'm a fan of German watches and of that tool watch look. So I've got the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. Fits very comfortably. Quite a sweet spot for me at 41.5 millimeters, I think it is, on my 7.5-inch wrist. But I think it's a size that can work well on many a wrist, larger and smaller. I find it a very comfortable watch. Some watches sit quite high or not quite right, but this one just is a snug fit, and the NATO actually helps that as well. So it's got this bi-directional bezel with a countdown timer. Personally, I prefer your standard dive watch bezel, the unidirectional one. I find this one I don't use as often. I just like the more standard type diving bezel, but this has got quite a few fans, this one. In terms of legibility, this is quite outstanding. You know, the white syringe hour and minute markers and second markers on this darkish dial. There's no legibility issues here whatsoever. Very clear and precise. The day and date click over nicely at 12 o'clock. Yeah, the sort of performance you'd expect from a German manufactured watch. I find it quite a versatile watch as well. This is something can handle a more formal or relaxed situation. You can dress it up or down with your various straps or bracelets. So it lives in both worlds, the Sinn 104, I feel. Performance wise, I'm averaging around 1 or 2 seconds plus a day, even sometimes better than that. I'm regularly checking it, and yeah, I'm getting outstanding performance from this little timepiece. The crown action on this Sinn is excellent, very, very smooth. Threading is always spot on every time I unwind and wind in the crown, screw it in. Very nice, very smooth, and very secure. There's been some hype recently over the recently released brushed version of the 104. I've got to say I thoroughly like this polished version. It is classic Sinn 104. I've got some brushed watches, they have their place. I like the polished version. I would prefer the polished version over the brushed version. I think it just suits this watch to a T and does allow it to make that shift from a tool watch environment into a more formal setting as well. And to be frank, I really can't come up with any negatives on this timepiece. It fits the bill perfectly for me, and I'm struggling to find anything that I don't like about it. It's just a great watch at a reasonable price comparative to others on the market. It's still not an inexpensive piece for many people, but compared to others, it's quite, for what you get, it's very good value in my opinion. So I really can't pinpoint any negatives on the Sinn 104 at this point. Probably my only dilemma at the moment is the fact they've released a new limited edition version in blue, and although that was 1,000 pieces and this one is 500 pieces, it's a very tempting proposition because these are just outstanding watches. So not quite sure what to do there, because in one sense it's probably a bit silly to have two Sinn 104s when I've got no other Sinns, but I do like that new blue limited edition version. But anyway, summing up, I've had this a year now. Fantastic watch, very reliable, extremely well made, German excellent watchmaking. Can't recommend the Sinn 104 highly enough. So this review goes along with all the other reviews that praise this very, very good timepiece. Okay, thanks for watching everyone.